Hey guys, welcome back. All right,
Everybody.
I forgot to put tags. I'm not expecting a lot of viewers. Whoops.
I got a little friend with me today.
It's low latency, so that should be pretty good. Okay. All right, so we've got three guests on with me today. As always, we have Illuvium returning with me. He is a mostly French YouTuber now, but he also has his English channel, and he has some awesome content coming up. And yeah, he does a lot of things to do with Illuvium. As last stream, he's Illuvium whale. We recently figured out, and he has a lot of insights from the traditional finance world, technical analysis, and things like that as well. He has a lot of knowledge in this space and in Illuvium, and he has a lot of different opinions to me, which definitely makes a really good conversation about where Illuvium is headed and ILV in general. The other two we have with us today are Nujayf Plays, and obviously his daughter, as you can see there. She is also a guest star today. And he is also an Illuvium YouTuber, and he has lots of content more recently around the strategies and affinities in Illuvium and kind of how the order battle might play out, the sorts of strategies people might implement and things like that. And it's very exciting to have him on today as well.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. This is my first live stream, and it's going kind of crazy with this one. I'll try to contain her.
Never. She might have some really interesting thoughts as well. So there's always that. Yeah, so I'm going to start us off with our first topic. We might as well jump straight into it. Quickly, apologies, everyone. We're a bit late today. There's a lot going on in the background for this whole show, stream, and everything as well. So it's a little bit late. Apologies, but I can see a lot of activity in the chat already. So thanks for all the support, everyone. And I hope you guys enjoy this show. And as always, there's going to be a short Q&A at the end as well for anyone that has questions for any of the guests up here. I'm including myself, but if we keep it to those guests, I'll have my own AMAs and stuff as well. So yes. And our first topic is going to be talk about the pre-beta. Now, Kieran and Grant have voiced their opinion of a pre-beta option in the future. So what this would mean is you'd have the private beta 1, they keep letting people in, and eventually they would hit this point where everyone would be allowed to participate in the beta. Okay, that's simply put. The other discussion, though, which is really important, is that they want to take money away from the flash pools or remove the flash pools altogether because they weren't really doing anything. And this would be like, they equated it to about like 1% of total staking rewards that currently exist would essentially go to the pre-beta as yield. Now, let's be real. I'm not expecting this to be more than a person earning maybe $100 for the entirety of that month or two. Like, it'd be a very small amount per person, but it would give them a taste of kind of how it all works and how the beta might be able to play out. So Ilvanor, I'll go to you first. What do you think about the pre-beta? Do you think this is a good idea, or like, are you excited do you think it should definitely happen?
I'm kind of in the middle. In one side, I think we don't need that. Like, just give me access to the beta and I'll play. I don't need to be paid. Just give me access to the beta. And I think a lot of people think like that. Now, from a hype perspective, aiming at people that are not part of the Discord and maybe never heard of Illuvium yet, like, could we be a way to just, make them interested, say, hey, I can earn something there, it's interesting. But also, if the yield is actually way lower than what we might expect on the real game, well, it might be counterproductive. So I would need more info. But just like that, I would say we don't need that. Like, everybody wants to play it for free in the beta. Just let us play. That's my take.
What do you reckon, Jeff?
I personally think it's a great idea. I know I have friends who play games, and I've told them about this game, and they're not interested until there's something for them to do. So, being able to let more and more people in, I could tell them, hey, hop into this game. You can come play right now. And I think another thing that I think it was Kieran mentioned was just that, like, just to satisfy the people who are waiting. And personally, like, the financial side, the GameFi side is great, but just being able to get my hands on it and do something in the game, I think that would satisfy me for a little bit.
That's my point, yeah.
Yeah. I think as a hype mechanism, it could have some serious power. But the only thing that concerns me is obviously it's not going to be like super buggy like let's say Cyberpunk, but it could have its own its own variety of shortcomings, and then that would all come to the forefront. Like imagine, I'm not saying there's going to be a big exploit or anything, but I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here. Imagine there is some larger issues that come from the beta. Obviously, it'd be great to stamp them out early, but when you start streaming things like that, do you think that could harm the progress or anything, or do you think people don't really care? They would understand it's a pre-beta and it's not the actual game.
I think the people in this space now would understand. I think if they're trying to attract people from outside of crypto, I think it would probably be a negative for them. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody who's in the Discord and paying attention, they understand this right now. But if we want to, get to millions or tens of millions of players, I think it could hurt in the short term.
Yeah, again, we just think the same. So basically, well, it really depends. If they open it, it will be to people mostly on the Discord, right? It's basically, hey, we want the full community to play. So this aspect is great. But if they add the money aspect, then people will come from the outside, probably mostly from play-to-earn game community. So it might not hurt from this aspect. But it's true that the actual reason we were doing just a private beta was to polish the game as much as possible before attacking the main audience. The main audience of Illuvium has always been pro players, real players, PlayStation, Xbox, PC players, not Axie Infinity type of players. So I think the initial plan was good. And if they want to open it to more people, as long as there's no money, I don't think there will be a lot of people coming from the outside. But it should have a cap. If it's million, you'll definitely have people disappointed because they won't have the actual real version. But if they want to move the cap to everybody that registered today to the beta, yeah, of course. If I'm not selected, I want to be trying it anyway in a month. So, yeah.
Yeah. So just for all those who are probably wondering, the private beta, we don't know when it comes out, but currently, I would say before the end of February or just before the end of February, that's when they seem to want to announce who they're letting into the beta. Whether or not it starts straight after that is anyone's guess. But I would say we could have people playing the game before March. I don't think there'll be any content online or anything yet, but I think people could definitely be messing around with it. So that's really exciting. And I know a lot of people are disappointed that the game was kind of pushed back a few times and things like that. But everyone on this panel here is super excited for it. And we definitely think it's a lot closer than you guys seem to think. That being said, we should have a quick chat about the dev blog. Whoops. So the dev blog has given us a lot of information about kind of where they're at with a lot of their systems. Now, the big one here is that the game engine, he's saying, is essentially complete. They've finished it, and this breeds into everything else. So I'd love to get an idea about the auto battler. And so the auto battler is the core of the game. What are you guys most excited for? The overworld auto battler, Leviathan, what are you most excited for when the game's going to come out? We'll go to Eleanor first.
Well, I think it's everything we're seeing, right? So the auto battler is definitely interesting. I think the overworld, right now it's called that, the open world, is what the game will really become and where a lot of interest will come, because auto battler are interesting. I'm playing auto battler almost every day. There's TFT, but there's also mobile Legend. They just copied everything about League of Legends, and they copied TFT too. So I'm playing mostly this one on phone. And it's fun. So now what I don't like is it's all, characters that have not much interest. But now when I'll be able to play with my own NFTs, it's got to be a whole different thing. Right now, I need the overworld to get my Illuvials. And I'm not sure how the auto battler will be if the overworld is not there yet, right? So it's fine for beta. But one of the real excitement we'll have is, oh my God, I found my first Axodon. I don't know if we can capture them, but you got the idea, right? And I failed to capture it. I'll just try again. That's the part that is really cool. Then playing the game with our own pieces will be extremely interesting. But I think I'm more looking for the overworld for now. Now, everything depends also on the survival mode, right? Because if they really give high rewards, then it's just going to be awesome, especially at the beginning where we'll not be, as many as later on. And we might have, opportunity for really cool rewards. So, yeah, what do you think?
I think for me personally, as great as the overworld seems, I'm more interested in the Leviathan arena, and more over just PvP as well, because I want to be able to, improve and level up my, alluvials and have them count towards something, because that's not going to be the case in just ranked PvP, but it will be the case in Leviathan arena. And I'm already thinking of, strategy of how I'm going to get my alluvials, because right now I have a child who takes up a lot of time. I'm still at this point in my life working a full-time job. So I don't necessarily have all the time to be putting into the overworld. So I want to start up like a scholarship system, which I already have experience doing that in Axie. That's really how I got into all of this space. So my plan is to really get some scholars helping me out, spending the time in the open world. I give them their fair share, and I take what I want out of it, and then I can use those alluvials, in the Leviathan arena to hopefully win me some ETH.
But you said Leviathan arena, right? The Leviathan arena is the one that is not normalized, right? Where an actual Ramfire is just Ramfire, and if you have, so you'll need the best of the best here. You're not afraid to be squashed by whales.
Well, I'm definitely no whale, but if I can have a good amount of, scholars helping me play this game, then I can really be putting in technically more time into the game through other people, if that makes sense.
I think I have a lot of opinions on the Leviathan arena. So I don't want to make this entire stream about it, but there are a lot of facets to this, right? So you have to liken to the Leviathan arena to something closer to blackjack, right? It is not going to be about the alluvials you have, because there's so many areas to it, right? You have this, it also has its own ranked system. So basically you won't just be facing whales. So let's assume whales all hit the top highest rank, and then they're only facing other people at that rank. In the Leviathan arena, it doesn't quite work like that. So you have this system where you're battling against people of your own kind of rank, and you're realistically, in this sense, winning just over 50% of your matches. But then how do you make money? Now, how you make money is, I think there needs to be the opportunity to place a bet at the start of the match. You get to size up your opponent and determine how much you're willing to risk. And if you add this poker style of gameplay, I think that's where it would get really, really interesting. But like, there's just so much we don't know about it yet. Yeah. But I don't think, as Illuvium said, if you're not a whale, I think you are going to have trouble. But Leviathans definitely still needs to exist, because what it does is it gives value to alluvials with better stats than others. Otherwise, they're not really as valuable.
But you know what could be really cool? That's actually what I hope will happen. Is I see that as a boxing championship, like real world championship. So you'll have the really, really good fighter there with the whales of one that are paid by whales, etc. And yes, they'll have the best of the best, and it's going to be tight there. But what I would want is for the public to bet on their fight. So basically it would be, I don't know, let's say we all become extremely good, and we'll say, okay, we'll have a tournament. We'll just go in Leviathan and we'll do one against in another. We'll just do all the combination. And people, even in the stream or just people in general, could watch it not necessarily through a stream, but actually through the game, because there is a spectator entrance if you look at the map. And what I wish is that they'll be able to bet, and then the winner get, like in boxing or like illegal fight, get some part of the winning of the bet. The winner, maybe even the other one. But technically, you could even, just for participating in the fight, you could actually win from the proceed of all the bets that were done on the fight. And then it would become even more interesting, because even if you don't have a chance to win, well, you'll have an incentive to fight.
Yeah, what do you reckon, Jeff?
Just had something on my tip of my tongue. This one distracted me. So yeah, I don't think we really know how the matchups are going to work in the Leviathan arena. The way I see it is, if I go into the Leviathan arena and I say I'm willing to bet 0.1 ETH on a match, it's going to match me up with someone else who's willing to bet 0.1 ETH. So if there are real big whales out there willing to bet a whole ETH or 5 ETH or 10 ETH, I don't think I'll even get matched up with them in the first place. So I think you'll end up getting matched up with somebody who's willing to take the same risk as you.
But you can also, because on interview, Kieran said that, hey, I don't remember who, maybe Volkin or Vetemor, he said, hey, we'll just be able to say, you know what, I challenge you, we bet 1 ETH, and there'll be a way to actually connect against somebody that you want to. So maybe there'll be another type of matchup. But
well, like if you went in there and you said you want to bet 1 ETH, and I'm on my side of the screen saying I'm not going to bet 1 ETH, then we're not going to get matched up. I'm willing to bet 0.1 ETH, and then somebody else is going to be willing to bet that same amount, and then we'll be the ones getting matched.
Yeah, but they needed a one-to-one, like, friend selection match, because if, let's say, Kieran want to play against Aaron, if Kieran just says he's willing to pay whatever, somebody will jump in before Aaron. So you need this actual, hey, challenge you. And he mentioned it would be there. But yes, if you don't have a friend, well, I hope there is another way to just get in, and they're probably going to be.
I think my most played crypto game personally is Zrun. And this thing you're talking about, Najaf, exists in Zrun, and it's probably the biggest part of its ecosystem, right? You can enter a race. It's like a horse racing game. You can enter a race, and you have your cheapest races and your most expensive races. And the most expensive races just has horses that are pretty much like monstrous and would just like destroy your horse every time. And the cheaper races have kind of your everyday people that are kind of learning the game and their horses and things. So you have there are also really good players in there as well, but you have a much better chance. And this system actually comes in for another reason, is the horses in the game have fatigue. So say your horse can only run 10 races in a day, but if your horse is really good, what you're going to do is you're going to run 10 of the really expensive races to try and maximize your day. But if your horse is a bit weaker, you might only really run those lower races for less risk and because you have a better chance of winning. So if we have a similar system here where alluvials are maybe only allowed to battle once or twice in a day, then this system gets broken open a lot more. The stronger players are almost forced to put up higher amounts of money because they want to try and maximize their profits, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. But another thing I was just thinking is, so I played a lot of poker. I played a lot of online poker. And in my last video I just released, I kind of, relate things to poker for a second there. But if you go onto like an online poker site, you'll see just heads up matches where it's just 1 versus 1. And somebody will open up a table for a minimum amount and just sit there until someone decides to jump onto their table and go heads up against them. So it could be a system like that. I could be hopping on, going to Leviathan Arena. I say, I want to hop into a match for 0.1 ETH, and I sit there until someone on the other side sees me and wants to come and battle against me. And that could also be cool, from a YouTuber sense, because, somebody who's watching a stream could see, oh, Scoriox is up there. He's willing to bet 0.5 ETH. I want to go battle against him on his stream right now.
Yeah, just quickly, guys, if you guys are liking this stream, don't forget to chuck a like down below. And the YouTube channels of the two people in this stream with me, their links are also down at the top of the description. I think they're at the top of the description. They're very close. Today's stream was a little bit rushed, but yeah. So definitely go show them support. There's some support. They have a lot of awesome content. Najaif actually released a video recently about the affinities, and if he's happy to, we can talk about it really quickly now. And yeah, he said if he gets 50 likes on his most recent vid, he is going to give everyone the sheet to look at. I don't know how true that holds up, but he's definitely going to share more with us in the future as well. And I have some ideas for using his sheet in some of my own stuff as well. And we'll definitely have a lot of chats about that. It's certainly some really interesting stuff. So did you want me to put it up on screen and you can talk about it?
Yeah, definitely. I wish we had set up my screen sharing system, maybe for a future one. But yeah, go ahead and pull it up. I know you got it.
Who did it? Squishy.
There you go. So yeah, just give us a really quick rundown. We'll get Eleanor's thoughts as well, of course, and you guys can have a look at this sort of stuff.
So, all right. So this is all I sent you, right? On my spreadsheet, I have like an equation that I use to come up with this system. That's actually in the video I just released a few hours ago. So I'd say if you want a little more detail on this, go watch that video, after this stream is done. But basically, if you look at you have the base affinities, that you have the 5, whatever they are, air, fire, water. But then you have what I've been calling upgraded affinities, which are 2 base affinities put together. So you basically, it's almost like on a grid. If you have, let's see, frost, you have an air affinity and a water affinity. And then you can match that up against, if you have a magma, you have a earth affinity and a fire affinity. And then you just come out with which one has the most advantage when looking at the base advantage side of it. I'm sure I just confused everyone just saying that. It's hard to just without having the equation in front of you, it's hard to put that into words. But I do feel fairly confident about this.
So what is a plus? What is a minus here?
So the plus. So you have to look at the left side first. So you can start right at the top at air. So you go across air to air. If there's just the color and it's blank, that means there's no advantage or disadvantage.
Stop, Daddy.
You stop. And then, so if you go across to bloom, also no advantage or disadvantage. And then when you get to the plus sign for dust, that means air has an advantage over dust. And then, you just keep going further. Air has the advantage over earth. It has a disadvantage to fire. And then it just walks across that way.
So how did you get this data? It's all from the Discord and you just created this Excel?
So I actually, a few months ago, my first YouTube video I ever uploaded, I speculated on just the matchups of the base affinities. So just the base 5 affinities. And it was speculation at first, but since then it was confirmed by Aaron on the Discord. So we know the matchup of the base affinities. And then, like I said, when you break down the upgraded affinities, going off of that base affinity chart, this is what you get.
Okay, but it's weird, right? Frost has no power over fire, no power over inferno.
So let's see. So frost
is air, I think.
Frost is air and water, right?
So air beats fire, and water loses.
Yeah,
water
so
beats fire, and air loses to fire.
Yeah, so it falls right in the middle. So so fire would beat air, but it would lose to water.
And neutral.
Frost is air and water together, so fire just falls in the middle. So to me, like I said, this is a slightly speculation, but that sounds like it's just going to be no advantage either way. Because which way would you put it?
Yeah, so my only thing that I keep trying to speculate on is in Pokemon, fire loses to fire, right? Fire attacks are less effective to fire, Pokemon because they're the same type. So do you think that will take hold here where the type will lose to itself? Or does that not make much sense because of the way Hyper works? So for all those in the audience that they're a bit unsure how Hyper works, my understanding is that, I'll just take off the stream for a sec. My understanding is that if your opponent has a lot of air alluvials and you have a lot of fire alluvials, then your fire alluvials are just going to get a buff. They're just going to become stronger, faster, hit harder, things like that. And it seems just like a stat buff. It doesn't seem like their fire attacks do more damage, but rather the alluvial overall becomes stronger. Oh my God.
You cannot not laugh. No, but yeah, it's exactly what you said. So, and they mentioned that, you know what? They mentioned that in some streams that I really remember because I translated it twice. And it was about when they mention steam and poison. And here you could see like all the kind of, it's going to be way more complicated like that. It's not going to be, oh, you got fire and so you're fine against water, vice versa. You actually have those hybrid alluvials that will start to take affinity based on the other alluvials that you have. Let's say the example was with steam. So if you have, it was water and fire, something like that. So if you had a lot of water affinities in your group with the steam one, they would look like more like water. And plus they would help in different ways. But if you had more fire, then they would be more aggressive and hit more. So it's not as if, well, based on this description, it's not as if steam would be kind of neutral to fire and water. You'll have a lot of changes based on what are the other alluvials. Plus, same with poison, etc. If you got more water, then your poison is stronger, maybe resist another one.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. But I think that the like you're talking more about synergies, and it's all going to play together, which makes it complex. But what in the chart that I made, I'm looking strictly at the affinities. So synergies are another level on top of it, just like classes are another level on top of it. I'm looking strictly at the affinity side of things. And then at some point, I'm going to make another video on the class side and then try to put it all together. But the way I see it, it's going to be very complex with all of these different factors, but it's going to make more sense than Pokemon does. Because Pokemon's not fair. You know, it seems that I've heard, you know, Aaron talk about how they had to make one extra alluvial to make things fair for all affinities, where Pokemon's not like that. There are some types in Pokemon that, you know, can have strengths against so many other, you know, types and weaknesses to very few. I think alluvial is going to make more sense, but be probably more complex, if that makes sense.
Way more complex, yeah.
I think that's interesting. Yeah, you're right. I come from a lot of competitive Pokemon, and you're right that some types are considerably better than others. Things like Steel being probably the best defensive typing, and Fairy's recent edition making it one of the strongest offensive types next to like Fire and Ghost. But the big difference with Pokemon is that it is about the balance of the team. It doesn't matter if Steel is the best type in the game. If you have 6 Steel types, you're going to lose. And that's the same in Illuvium. You need your team has to be a certain level of balanced. So if you have all water types, then one nature type is just going to whoop you. So there's so many facets to this, and this is going to segue us into my last topic, the really big one. And I want to talk about, could Illuvium be one of the greatest strategy games of all time? Okay. It's a bold statement, but I personally think in terms of mass adoption, every large game we've seen in the past decade has had a powerful competitive scene, and that only comes from a powerful strategy game. All of your top games and highest most played games are things like League of Legends, Dota, Hearthstone. And when you look at League of Legends in particular, it has a single game mode. And the reason that game is so popular is because it's so repetitive and replayable because it's got so much strategy and depth to that strategy. Then you added character every so often, and obviously that expands that. But I think that is a large factor and something that we need to discuss in terms of Illuvium. Do you guys think as a strategy game, or even it could be its own genre, that will be in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah,
You know, I think so. Just from something you said the other day was you started looking at the affinities and how did you word it? Like
My brain
it's hurting
exploded.
your brain to think about it, to process it. And you were just looking at affinities. You add affinities to classes, to synergies, to the fact that you can place them on the board a tiny little bit in the wrong spot. In all of that put together, I think it's going to take a really good gamer with a really good, thinking skills to be great at this game.
It's not just that. What is really interesting to me, aside from the affinities, is the actual game. How do you call that? Like the actual map where you're putting all the players. If you look at TFT, or the one I'm playing, the chess of Mobile Legend, it's like 8x8. It's like, like another chess, or 10x10. Here, it's not 10x10. It's not 8x8. When we look at this, they have those very small dots. And some Illuvial take like 9, and some Illuvial take just 5 or 4. And the game is fully deterministic. They said that many times, right? It basically means that if you play again the same game, the result will always be the same. But it's also mean that there is a crazy amount of combination, and you could just change one small, scoriox or snakes or whatever, one dot, and it could just change the whole result of the game. So the strategy will be intense, and the combination is just crazy. Like there's way more combination that there is probably in the Go game. It was like something impossible to solve by machine before. We had to use Google and AI. So yeah, it's gonna be. I don't know if it's going to go in the Wall of Fame for that. I think it's going to go in the Wall of Fame, as the first good crypto-related game. But the game, well, it's going to be good. Exactly.
Yeah. There's a lot to think about, but we talk about how many systems there are, and then you all of a sudden have the fear of it's too complex. Obviously, no one wants that, but Aaron has been clear, and Grant and Kieran said on stream with Venomore the other day that they think that people will be able to figure out. They think it's not actually that bad. And Aaron goes on and on about his term simplexity, where you have, well, really what you have at the core is 5 classes and 5 affinities, and they essentially make up the game when you get down to the brass taxes. And really, it'll come down to if you can learn those 10 things, then can you learn the game from that? Do you guys think it'll be too complex, or what are your expectations?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be extremely complex to win at very high level, and that's the goal, right? It has to be something super advanced, but also think it's gonna be enjoyable and easy to start and pretty intuitive when we start.
Yeah, and I'd have to say the same thing on that. It's going to be very complex for the high level players, but I could probably put my 5-year-old daughter in front of it, and she could drop alluvials onto a board and click start and see what happens. And even she might be like, "Oh, if all of theirs look blue, I don't want to put all my orange ones on the board." So like, I know I'm talking about you. But so I think it will be very simple. It's going to be more simple than, a League of Legends game where you need to be clicking different areas. So I think anyone could definitely play this game, but it'll take someone special to master it.
Yeah, I think taking out the elements of RNG from something like the team fight or the auto chess genre is going to be interesting. I don't think a lot of people are gonna get onto it straight away, but I think removing RNG is always good. And they have said there's a little bit of RNG. I can't remember exactly what. I think the augments, there is one that appears and it's like a random one, and you have a choice of bidding for it or something. I haven't learned all those details, but they're going to be giving us in the blog. Actually, they said something about there's going to be a little tutorial thing or a marketing video for the private beta and stuff like that. So when these sorts of things launch, they have all the resources ready already to give to us. So right before we jump into a Q&A, I do want to ask one more quick question. I was wondering, Nijave, could we get up your daughter and ask her what her favorite alluvial is?
Please.
Yana, come here. I don't know if you know the names yet. Come here.
We could all go through our favorite alluvials. And everyone in the chat, if you want to post your favorite alluvial, go ahead.
I actually do have a favorite one already. That might change once I start playing the game, but... All right, ready? Let me ask you a question. Okay, you can ask her what her favorite alluvial is.
All right, what's your favorite alluvial?
Assless.
Atlas?
Good answer.
Atlas, yeah.
Somebody told her, right?
Yeah. You know, off the top of my
He
head,
told me to say Assless. That's actually not my favorite alluvial.
So which one
What
is a
is it
real
then?
favorite? It's Goyo.
yeah, I can't think of the name
I don't
of the
even
one that I like. It's
I don't even have a favorite alluvial.
No, you love them all?
you know what? I'm gonna find it real quick for you. The
All
one
right,
that
what's your
I think
favorite?
has been
What's your
sick.
favorite, Eleanor?
Okay, so my favorite, I don't know the name, but you might know. It's the one that they share, I think, as the first Illuvita. And it's like a panther, and it's black. And I
Umbre,
think,
maybe?
what's the name?
Umbre?
I don't know. But I think Laurie's husband is using this as on his Twitter.
Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, this one. So what is his name? That's yours?
I don't even know. I just.
Wait,
No, that one's a different one again.
Oh yeah, that
Get-
one's not mine. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Yours-
that's mine. That's mine. That's the one I was saying, yeah.
yeah.
I'm not sure what that one's called. Umbre's the
yeah,
one with like
I
the
don't
two
know that
things
The
coming
first
out.
Illuvita that was shared, I think. It's really pretty.
Raymond's saying links.
Links?
That's
Oh.
like the first version of it.
No, because we like if you look in the old trailer, you have the third links, and it's like something with shadow on his body. You like this one?
that is
I think this guy looks sick.
Yeah, I
And
And
really
when
like
it
it too,
goes in the
actually.
ground, it's awesome. Right? You see only the flower.
look. Come on,
I forgot the
student.
name of your one, but can you guys guess what mine is?
Time for school.
Hmm.
It's time for
Tough
school.
one.
What's school
Mine
class?
is Scoriox, of course.
What's school class?
Yeah,
I'm bringing up the
say.
name of your one, Eleanor. Hold on.
You are on your
The third
Lubitar
stage links.
Two.
Let's get it
Class
up.
two. If
Yeah, I
you
still don't even know the name of this guy, but I want one.
I'll be better.
There is also some kind of big crocodile, which is pretty fun too. I don't know if you saw it. Some kind
we
of walking
don't
crocodile.
we don't have the name for the third stage of the links.
When I grow up, I want to be a mom.
We don't have the name for him yet, so
But
we'll
I
have to
don't
find
think
out.
it's Lynx, because Lynx, the third one is like a dog shape with shadow around it. It's not a panther.
So,
Ombre?
so you are looking at the panther. That's Umbre. Yeah, the panther is like Umbre. The
Amber.
one with like the purple things coming out of its head.
Huh.
Yeah. And my favorite is Scoriox, of course, the new koala.
Scoriox
Alright,
is
so-
the third evolution of the snake, right? Or it's the first?
The third one. Yeah. So it's
So,
Fear,
yeah.
something Furiox Scoriox. And the baby one might have been revealed, but I actually haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I don't know the
Like the
baby.
name of it. 10. Okay, Joseph has said this is going to be our first question for the Q&A. $10 if any one of the YouTubers can name all the elements and fuels.
I don't even know if they're all.
Krypton.
Oh, I can-
Solons. That's only two, right?
I think there's 12 total.
Carbon.
6 of each.
Carbon,
Carbon is
hydrogen.
an element. Yeah.
Oh, I got four.
Those are like all the ones I remember as well. Joseph is godson.
Hydrogen.
Hyperions or something like that.
Yeah, there is a
no.
Hyperion one. I could look it up, but I'm obviously not going to do that.
Oh, there's
I
one
could
more.
actually bring them up right on the
Yeah, me
screen
neither.
right
Right?
There's like, yeah, salons, I think it's called.
Solon
now.
is
There's
definitely one.
only 6 of them. I
Yeah,
brought
there's
them
only
up now.
6.
There's
I
only
just got
6.
5, right?
We got carbon, hydrogen. The last
Carbon?
one was it's not graphene. It was on elements.
So which ones did you say? Hydrogen, carbon.
Hydrogen, carbon, kryptons, solons, hyperions.
Yep. There's one left.
Hyperion plus one. Okay.
And then.
And then it's the real elemental. I forgot. It's not collagen. It's something.
Carbon, hydrogen.
Godson said it in the chat. The last one is silicon.
Silicon. Ah, okay. I think I don't have an account here. I can't even see the chat. I think I need a
you need to open the stream on YouTube, have it on the screen on the side.
Oh, is that how you do it?
Yeah.
I'm new to this. This is my first live stream, so
don't worry. You might have heard about some of my earlier live streams.
I did see one where you thought you didn't record the whole thing.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Then you see him being like, "No, really? Are you kidding me?"
All right. There any other questions, guys, in the chat? Until then, is there anything you guys wanted to talk about?
I got one thing. Actually, I was not that interested into Illuvita until I seen your video. I think it was really good. Your video on where you explain all the different price and all the different thing. I thought it was really good. Yeah, yours.
Okay.
I thought I need to. It's just I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. That's why I said your video instead of Nijafe. I don't know how you.
So, that's not my real name. My real name's Nick. I'll let everyone know it's Nick. Okay. But Nijafe is how I say it.
Nijafe. Like
Nijafe.
Okay. Giraffe. Like giraffe. Okay, cool. Nijafe. So yeah, your video was really good. I invite everybody to look at it if they are not sure they want to look into Illuvita. I think it's really good. You explain everything, the probability of some dropping, etc. Honestly, personally, if there's a random aspect, I'm not a fan of it. Like I really like stuff when they're sure. Like I hope in the actual game of the auto battler there's no luck at all. It can be pure strategy, and it's not like, hey, you can use randomly one of your 10 review or something like that. But
I'd rather take the trade-off of them making Illuvitars a little random, but keeping the RNG out of the gameplay.
Yeah, no, it could be random in which one you get, but I don't want to pay 5 Ethereum and have a 20% chance to get something that is worth 0.1.
I did notice that you could pay a lot to get I think maybe it's a gold box, and you still have a 2% chance of getting a common out of it.
Yeah, this sucks. Right? It's not fun. Yeah, you have people that hate the game for that.
Yeah, if I pay 2, 3, 4 ETH, I don't even want a 2% chance of getting a common.
But it's not just that, because it was like 2% to have the worst, but like you would pay for tier 5 and you might have a tier 3 still or tier 4. I think like if you pay for something, it's actual real money. Some people might love that, especially will love that, the one that actually gets a tier 5. Or this one, they also it's the best idea in the world.
Yeah.
But I've seen that where on Bakery Swap when they had their combos. So Bakery Swap is this competition of Pancake Swap, and they had those NFTs where you would have a way better yield if you had them. But then the actual ROI was random. And some people spend a lot of money to get a really bad combo, and they just become troll against the protocol. So that's the issue, right?
I just have to check something quickly. Apparently live chat wasn't set to save last time.
Here we got a question from Quakeskia, which mean what is happening in French. And so he says, what is your personal strategy on the game, like about lands, Illuvita, long term? Basically, the question is, where are you planning to spend your money? Is anybody planning to buy Illuvita or land, etc.? So I partially answer that if you want to start. I didn't pass.
Yeah, you. I can start if you want. Personally, I'm most invested for RevDiz. That's where I see a lot of the potential for the game. It also has its own element of risk. But I'm going to be pretty much diversifying as much as I can. I want to buy at least one land so I can play it. I've got most of probably 90% of the ILV I hold staked. And I'm going to be claiming SILV as I need it for when I'm playing the game. I essentially plan to be playing for free off of RevDiz, hoping they put that proposal through that allows you to claim SILV. But either way, I don't think I'll really be trying to flip the market or anything. I'll probably actually hold my alluvials for the long term. Yeah, it's not really that I think they're going to go up in value and be worth $1 billion in 10 years' time. It's that
I wish, yeah.
I really see this in the same way I've seen a lot of my Pokemon stuff. So I've had a lot of the Pokemon in my accounts and in my boxes I've had since I was a kid. I've had those Pokemon with me, and Nintendo has allowed me to transfer them up and hold them up until I am now. I'm not a kid anymore, but I still have memories of when I caught my very first Pokemon and things like that. And I'm hoping Illuvium can capture that same feeling. I'm gonna have that first ever Scoriox I obtained and that first ever holographic Alluvial I obtained, and they might be worth $100,000 one day. I don't know, and I don't really care. I'm gonna hold them because they mean a lot to me sentimentally. And maybe I'll win my competition, and this team I used to win it, that'll also become sentimental to me. There's so many facets to this game. Then you add something like the dating simulator, and maybe this alluvial got a really hot date. So I think he's definitely going to stay with me or something, or I'm going to try and buy the person he got a date with. I don't know. There's so many possibilities.
If you don't have an Illuvita, then you don't have an actual avatar. So you'll just get one.
You
right?
can
You don't want a Scoriox Illuvita?
Yeah, definitely. And I'll probably have that on my profile for a very long time. I might change it, but I probably won't ever sell the old one. So what do you guys think? What kind of is your investing strategy for the long term?
I'm personally going, like you said, as diversified as I can. I want a piece of everything. And I've been trying to rack up some of the SILV. I'm probably going to use most of that on land, but I want to keep some of that aside for like I said, some sort of scholarship system. I want to actually put a lot into the game through other people, through other scholars. Like I said, using them, I can get a lot of time invested in the game. And when I get those alluvials, I plan to hold them as well. I want to hold as many alluvials, get good in the Leviathan arena, and hopefully make my profit from winning matches in the Leviathan arena. That's the ultimate goal. And then just hold on to all of these alluvials and, transfer it on to my daughter when she's older.
I heard what you said.
Actually, I thought of that. Maybe our great-grandson will buy a house that's a rainfire for my ancestor.
Yeah.
Just tell it I just had this in inheritance. Just be careful, guys. Somebody said that they are new and ask what is Sylve about, because we mentioned it. Do not buy Sylve. Sylve is dead, right? Do not go to the pool where you can buy
SIV, not right now.
SIV right now, Sylve. It's not something you want to buy, right? Because somebody said, I had just the chance to buy one during the crash. So I really hope you're not saying SILV here and you're meaning ILV, because SILV is dead. It was hacked. They'll have another one soon, which will be SILV2 or another name. So be careful with that.
I think he's referring to ILV.
I hope so, but just in case. And so for me, well, everybody know I got a lot of SILV. I'll spend on land. I would really like to have megacities. When they said that they would sell directly 3+3, I think it's awesome. But also I'm afraid there'll be a lot of hype and premium to get this 3+3. I'm not really willing to pay a huge premium or any premium at all. I might be as happy to have a lot of tier 1. So we'll see. As for Illuvita, honestly, I was planning to just get the cheapest of the cheapest, just to maybe have one. And since I have the badge, well, to maybe have a badge on it. But I was not interested at all. Some are pretty, some I don't really like, some I really like. Some, if you look at the artifact that they can have, some look really, really good, and some look kind of weird. Like I've seen some glasses of colors, and it was kind of, you felt the overlay. So yeah, I'm not planning to invest a lot, but I'll definitely have a few, mostly because of the system. Right? What I really, really like in Illuvium is I have this Illuvium, then we will never have them again. And I want to do the same with Illuvita. So I think the first Illuvita will be interesting to have because not many will be minted. But then I will not be a huge collector that want to have them all.
Yeah, Aaron's actually mentioned that there's going to be more utility to these Illuvitars that, hasn't been leaked yet. Like, we don't even know what it is, but he seems pretty excited about it. So I'm definitely picking some up just to see what that future, utility will be.
The problem with that, so initially I would get bummed by that kind of thing. But then when the date of this land sale in November was postponed, everybody was like, oh yeah, but it was not an official announcement. And yet you had the CEO and all the founder mentioning the date repeatedly and then other dates. So basically anything they said outside of the actual announcement Discord is just something that may never happen. And so I will not base an investment just on something that they mention on the video.
Definitely just for everyone in the chat, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, and neither are these guys. And please always do your own research. As crypto is very risky in general, so everyone just needs to be completely aware of that. Where obviously have a lot of us, or at least me at least, has quite rose-tinted glasses at this point, and there's no going back from that. I've built a large amount of my life around Illuvium now, so you guys understand. Another big question that's come out is that Lafont wants to know what new game genres are we excited about for future ILV projects? What new type of gamers will they try to engage with after they've gone after the collectors, city builders, and auto battlers?
I have one in mind actually that I was playing. It was a spin-off of a Pokemon game that I haven't said anything about yet, but I think it would work perfect in the Illuvium system. It's called Pokemon Duel. Have you ever heard of it?
Love Pokemon Duel.
I played that for it. I think it was only in existence for like 4 or 5 years or something until they shut it down. But I played that all the time. I was, consistently in the top 100, in the top 10 in the monthly rankings, and I was pretty disappointed when that game got shut down. And I could see each of those figures as, in Illuvial, and it'd be perfect to just, an on-the-go game on your phone. I thought that game was great, and I think they could definitely, recreate that with Illuvials.
For those that don't know what Pokemon Duel is, it's essentially a gacha. It's essentially a gacha game with this really neat little genre. It's kind of like, you can look at it kind of like checkers. No, not checkers. Kind of like chess. It's a hard genre to explain. You have like a board and you can move your pieces around, but you kind of build a deck. It feels a little bit similar to the auto battler, but it's a lot simpler, and you've got your range of Pokemon to choose from, but you're essentially collecting them and then leveling them up and things like that. It'd be a fun game, and I think given the resources they've already built, it might not be that hard for them to pull off very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And that was my thoughts. They could transfer it over. They already have everything they need to just transfer it over. And yeah, I think that would just be a great way. It's another turn-based strategy game, which is the games that I tend to gravitate towards. So, maybe in the future, I think that could be one.
So they mentioned a few in interviews. They mentioned that basically each of the three brothers has some kind of next game they would like. One mentioned it would be related to like a dungeon. Another one, I think, was related to like an open world. And then there was, I think, something like League of Legends. So personally, I would go for the Dota League of Legends one because, well, the other one is already turn-based. Like, I would want something kind of, really different for the next one. Something related to the open world, like games that I really like are a game like Skyrim. Like, look at my face. I look like a Skyrim thing. and The Witcher, The Witcher 3, etc. So that's when you got really good quality graphics. That's the kind of game you can do, and they probably want to do. But if you look also, and we speak of Pokemon Duel, if you look at Pokemon right now, they created this Pokemon Unite. I don't know if you played it.
Yeah,
It's a League of Legends of Pokemon. They just saw the value of that kind of game. There's definitely something there.
Yeah. I think it's easy to put something like that on mobile too, which obviously has its benefits. I mean, when you think about it, Dota, which was, I think, the first in the MOBA genre, Dota was a mod of World of Warcraft. So really depending on what they do, you could have a group of people mod the game and create this thing, and then Illuvium takes it and actually builds it and stuff like that. Like, you never know. What I personally would like to see, even though it would take a lot more time than your suggestions, is a shooter game. The reason for that, shooters bring in a lot of players. Just that simple. Like, look at Fortnite, look at Call of Duty Warzone, battle royale shooter type thing. I don't know how that would work with alluvials. Like, I don't imagine an Axodon running around with an AK-47.
No, but the player could, right? The women could it could be revolution, civil war between the Valens, and you just create the game here. There is terrorists that are anti-illuvials, and they like Counter-Strike, right? And you have an illuvial with dynamite all around, and you need to save it before the bomb explodes. So yeah, there's definitely stuff that could be done there.
Well, I think even like Apex Legends recently added in Godson shouted out to Dovakid. But in Apex Legends, they added in these predator creature things that are on the map, and it kind of reveals your location to shoot them, but you get some loot from them and stuff like that. So there are ways of adding alluvials into a shooter, or at least a battle royale, in a lot of ways. So I think there are creative ways to do it, and I'd be curious to see not so much the game being made, but kind of the design choices and what ideas they have at the very least. Like, even just
I think we have the gun. We'll have all the skins of the gun that come from blueprints, which would make the lens even more valuable, because now it's not just a gun you barely see on the auto battler. Now it's actually your gun for the shooting game. Oh, yeah, it would be great.
Yeah, I mean,
it could really go in any direction. Like, there's so many different possibilities. Another game I played a ton of was Super Smash Bros. They could make a Super Smash Bros. Game
That'd be fun. That'd be fun. But yeah, the other side of it is that you even have like Star Wars Battlefront, where you get a certain amount of points and you become Luke Skywalker. What if you get a certain amount of points and now you're an Axodon or a Scoriox, and you're running around just shredding everyone with meteors, you know? Like,
I don't think they'll do that, because actually I would be annoyed if it was like that. And that's what they do in Pokemon Unite, right? You just evolve to the next thing as you play. But what they say is that the Illuvial would be key and center of everything. Now, if you have a game where you got a really good Ramfire, or you got just one Ramfire, and they are unique because we are 5 years down the line and it's been 4 years since you cannot have one. Well, if you just have, the basic version and you can just evolve through that, then what's the point of having the expensive one? So I hope they'll just keep the actual different evolution, Leviathan, Arena, for that kind of thing. But yeah.
Yeah, I guess you definitely have to think about how the alluvials play into it, because you get any game you get, really, if alluvials come into it, then you instantly become, if you have a Ramfire, your experience is better than someone that doesn't have a Ramfire. So all those that got in early get a much better experience, and it's not really bringing in new players.
No, but you have alternative. So something he mentioned, I think it was Aaron or maybe Grant, they said the next game could be a flying simulator. Example, right? And then for that, you'll need one with wings. Now, yes, Ramfire will be one, but you'll have new set that also have wings. So you always have a real shot at winning. And, for the actual Auto Battler, what they want is amazing strategy. So they want it to be good with strategy. If it's based on speed and abilities at flying stuff, they will not make it in a way where you can win only with Ramfire. But at least for the skin aspect, if you don't have the NFT and you can play it, then we would lose interest in actually owning it, right?
So I'm just trying to look for another question. Do you think the pool of ILV 2.0 will be usable before the land sale? Yes.
Yeah,
I think
they mentioned that already. That it would.
Yeah,
No, they don't mention it, right? Because it's a pool, it's unofficial. They cannot mention it will be there. They're speaking of the actual unofficial black market trading pool, right?
I think so. I think they're talking about I think
Just
they're
can you
referring to
claim it?
SILV, even though they haven't said it. But
Anybody can
yeah,
create it.
I mean, it's SILV will be functional before the land sale. How long before, we don't know. It will be functional before, and as soon as SILV is functional, anyone can make a liquidity pool for it. Obviously, that comes with a lot of risks. It's unofficial, and a lot of people learned that lesson the hard way, in a sense. But I can almost guarantee that there will be another unofficial pool before the land sale begins. But maybe Aaron and everyone might try and restrict that and prevent it.
No, they won't. They're really in the blockchain kind of mindset, right? So Aaron did mention in the chat that if it was up to him, he would not have created SILV as an ERC20. But Kieran and Kane really understand the thing, right? It's about being decentralized, about having tokens that are real token, not creating more games like in VV. VV is doing the other side, right? They're moving to the blockchain. You don't want to centralize stuff. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be an ERC20 again. And they said the fuel will be ERC22. If the fuel is ERC20, you'll have pools because you make money by providing those liquidity. When you actually own the full pool and people are trading, that's really interesting. You make a lot of money on Uniswap like that. In DeFi Summer, you could make a lot of money like that. Then when you own, 0.01% of the pool, it's not the same. But yeah.
That's so. I do want to see how that plays out, because if you can make a pool using the ERC20s, in theory, maybe Illuvium's going to peg their Illuvidex to it, because they've got to make sure that it's the same price, or they're kind of screwed.
They don't need that. Arbitrage, I don't know how you say it in English. Arbitrage will just match the price automatically. It's exactly how stablecoin works, right? So basically, if there is also a swap on Illuvidex and I can make money by taking from the other pool, then I'll do it. And then the price will slowly get to a point where, if I consider the gas price, well, it's not interesting anymore to do that. But if they do a lot of stuff and they mention it, maybe for Lens Extra on Arbitrum or Optimism, well, Eileen protocol from Kane was set up on Optimism. You can create Uniswap pools there too. So then there would barely be any gas involved there. And the price of the pool could be extremely near to the actual price of whatever the fuel is supposed to be worth. And same for SILV, which I think SILV, so Vetimo, I think mentioned would go to like 90% of the price of ILV. I think it's right if you consider gas price, but if you have pools on L2 where you almost don't pay, on Polygon or something like that, it can be really, really near.
So another question here that I'd love to throw to you guys. Laurie has asked, will tier ones, say like Atlas, we don't actually know if he's a tier one, but or maybe we do, I don't know, say Atlas, have a max level? All right, what I have my own thoughts, but I'd love to hear what you guys think. What do you think, Najaf?
I think they'll all have a max level. I don't think it's going to be determined on what tier they are. I mean, I think I've heard the number 150 thrown around. Maybe they can all top out at a max level of 150, but I don't think Atlas is a tier one, so it can only go to 50, and then a Ramfire can get up to 150. I think the Ramfire is already going to be more powerful, so 150 level Ramfire is going to be better than a 150 level Atlas anyways.
I don't know. It would make sense, but based on what Kiran said yesterday in the interview with Vetimo, yesterday was the day before, he mentioned a snake that was the second evolution, and that they will have to level it because it's like way too strong. And for the strategy, if you look at the normalized thing, well, it would be interesting to have ways of actually, some specific skill from one Illuvial phase 2 that is actually relevant combined with something else. instead of everybody using Evolution 3 all the time. And because I like strategy so much, I think that there might be some interesting composition where you might have the possibility to pick the third evolution, but you'll pick the first one for some strategic reason. Now, as of the level, and if tier 1, like evolution 1, will be blocked at a level, I think was never mentioned. I got no idea.
Yeah, I think there was another thing mentioned in the Vedamore interview, and that was that when you find an alluvial in the wild, it's not going to be level 1. It's going to have its own level determined. So I'm with Najaf on this, where you go to a T1 area and maybe they're all ranging between level 5 and 20 or something. You hit that T5 area and your Ramfire you're finding is maybe level 80, and that's what makes it so extra difficult. And I think they will all cap out at the same point. I hope they do 100. I think 150 might be too much, but it depends on how it scales, I guess. But 100 makes so much sense in my head, you know.
Yeah.
All right. So if there's any last thoughts you guys had, I think we might have to wrap it up now. It's getting a bit late. I don't want to make it run too long, and we're definitely going to have more of these streams to talk about this stuff in the future. And yeah, Laurie said about that. You were talking about Furiox, but he said that Kieran was referring to Scoriox. I think it might have actually been Furiox.
Yeah, he said
he said that it was OP, but that was more the synergies and things that is just really strong. And I actually predicted that in my previous synergies video, so that was really funny. Okay, so if you guys have any closing statements, just hit me.
No, I just say, like I said, I don't have anything else pulled up. I don't know how many people are watching this or commenting, but you support all of us. Give us some subs, give us some likes. You know, we're here to help promote this game. So if you're in this game, you want it to be seen by as many people as possible. And we're all fairly small YouTubers, and we're hoping to grow. So, we could really use your help. This is all a team effort.
That was a really good ending speech. Yeah, I'll just say the same. No, I think it's super relevant. So basically, everything is super early. Be careful when you invest. Again, not financial advice, anything that was said here or any of our channel. Consider maybe joining a guild. We're all part of the Shiny Shards. There'll be opportunity with guild. We're, again, super early to be part of a guild. So we'll take the opportunity while it's there. At least we'll check if it might be of your interest. And if you have question, go to Discord or just ask us. If there's really good question, we'll be happy to create a video about it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We're always happy to field questions. We chat a lot in the Shiny Shards Discord, hanging out with everyone. It's great to meet everyone. We're a tight-knit family. Big thanks to everyone for joining us today, giving us likes, subs, whatever. Big thanks for supporting us and being there with us to field us some questions and everything as well. Have a good one, guys.